Good evening, everyone. The public has been duly informed of this meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by posting at least 48 hours in advance a notice on the bulletin boards in Stevenson and Churchill schools, a notice to the Township Clerk, a notice to the Herald News, and the Progress. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be it resolved that the Fairfield Board of Education recognizes Alex Chen as the 2024 Mecca Integrated Medical Center Incorporated Scholarship Award recipient for academic excellence. Mr. Chen, a former Churchill student, will graduate from West Essex High School as class salutatorian in June 2024 and plans to attend the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where he will be studying aerospace engineering. Let's give him a big round of applause. Okay, we'd like to open up the floor on public comments on agenda items only. Public comments on agenda items only. All right, we'll close that. Kathleen, thank you.
Okay, in Dr. Cicatelli's absence, I'm going to cover her side of the agenda. So I'm asking the board, in caption only, it's a very long agenda, and I do apologize to that, 17 pages. So the first caption is personnel. A, certified staff approve the maternity leave of absence for the people listed on page 2, A and B. Employment, items A through I listed on page 2 and 3. Retirement of Lisa McIntosh with regret, best wishes and appreciation for 39 years of service to the students of Fairfield. That was item 3, retirement on the bottom of page 3. Item 4 on the top of page 4 is for the extended school year approvals. The job descriptions, item 5 is job descriptions revised for the principal, director of curriculum and instruction, and director of special services. Item B for non-certified staff, items 1 through 3 is for appointment and reappointment of school playground aides and cafeteria aides. Item 3 is the reappointment of the BCBA for 12-month establishment effective July 1st. Item 4 is reappointment of exempt non-certified employees, items A and B on item 4. Substitutes at the bottom of page 5 is to approve the substitutes for the 24-25 school year. On the top of page 6, administration is approve the evaluation for the superintendent effective the 23-24 school year as submitted on May 2nd, 2024. The resolution for the emergent hiring to hire people between board meetings is on page 6. Administrative reappointments is listed on page 3, the middle of page 6 for Megan Cafone, Ray Santana, and Dr. Michael Tribuco. Item 4 is to reappoint the coordinator, liaison, and officer assignments for the 24-25 school year. And then item 5 is the evaluation tools that has to be regularly reapproved for the 24-25. Can I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Mr. Feedy?
Yes.
Ms. Street?
Yes.
Ms. Altai?
Yes.
Mr. De Pasquale?
Yes.
Okay, for curriculum and program, I'm asking the board to approve items A and B, safe return plan approval, and the annual approval of current curriculum and textbooks. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Feedy?
Yes.
Ms. Street?
Yes.
Ms. Altai?
Yes.
Mr. De Pasquale?
Yes.
Policies and regulations, item A through C, the annual approval of the current policies and regulations, school security drill statements of assurance, and HIB investigation confirmation from May 22nd, 2024 executive session. A motion, please?
Motion. Second.
Roll call. Mr. Feedy?
Yes.
Ms. Street?
Yes.
Ms. Altai?
Yes.
And Mr. De Pasquale?
Yes.
On page 8 at the bottom, pupils, the child nutrition program for receiving districts is only one resolution. May I have a roll call? Or, I'm sorry, a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Feedy. Roll call, Mr. Feedy?
Yes.
Ms. Street?
Yes.
Ms. Altai?
Yes.
Mr. De Pasquale?
Yes.
Okay, under business resolutions are A through DD with approval and discussion. So I'm asking the board to approve the minutes as listed on May 16th and May 22nd, the bills and claims, item D for bills and claims list for June 7th, and affirm the payroll for May 30th and June 15th. Item C as amended for the transfers. Item D is to approve the board secretary and treasury reports for May of 2024. Capital Reserve, this is a perfunctory resolution for Capital Reserve as well as Maintenance Reserve, as listed on page 10. The treasurer, appoint the treasurer of school monies, Mike Halleck, to serve for the 24-25 school year. Under contracts, the joint purchasing agreements for boards of ed of 2 or more districts to participate. Environmental Services, appoint Carl and Associates as our environmental and for our right to know training in the amount of $3,900. The integrated pest management on the top of page 11 for the 24-25 school year. Participation with the Sussex County Regional for our joint transportation agreement. Our health benefit broker, which is our, IMAC Insurance Company. Our Bergen Municipal Employee Fund, which is the Bergen Municipal Employee Benefit. It's basically the participation in the joint fund for health insurance and other things. Our collective maintenance of student records, which is policy number 8330. Our annual tuition rate for the 24-25 is listed. Our related services, which is our wellness rehabilitation for physical therapy at a cost of $95 an hour and evaluations at $300 an hour. Our employee health benefit plan, their new rates for 24-25 under Aetna, item P. Item Q is our prescription coverage rate as listed for 24-25. Our dental plan on the bottom of page 13 and the top of page 14 as listed. Our vision plan for the 24-25 as listed on page 14. Under administrative, and again, I apologize for this long agenda. This is kind of perfunctory, but it has to be done. Our ADHERA coordinator, which is John Persino, supervisor of buildings and grounds. Our asbestos program manager, which is John Persino again. And our right to know officer, which is John Persino. Contracts. The contracts that are attachment H, which if you look on the agenda, it's probably 4 or 5 pages. Those are contracts that this year we approved as a board, but this is an audit perfunctory type of thing, and we're anticipating to use for the following year. If we use another vendor, it's board approved anyway. Our out-of-district placement, New Beginnings in Fairfield, for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30, 2025 for tuition charges of $166,195.28. We're approving our ABA therapy, therapist for home instruction, not to exceed 20 hours a week at $61.85. Under administrative, we're approving the petty cash for 24-25 as listed for each of the schools, special services, superintendent's office, and board secretary, administrator's office. And again, a wonderful thing is Alex Chen, that Mr. Pasquale gave him that wonderful honor. He's, I guess, did he leave already? Yes, he left. I wanted to thank him, but okay. So for his excellence, academic excellence. And the last page, which is really 16 and 17, which is the annual boiler cleaning for Combustion Service Corporation at $8,420. And to amend a quote that we received a month ago that we approved, but it included tax, and that was $13,600. And the purchase of one fireproof file cabinet, and the reason why we need this is for our minutes. The minutes have to be kept in a fireproof cabinet, and we don't have one. And believe me, I don't want to spend this money, but we have to. So can I have a motion?
So discussion?
Well, motion first
Motion?
and then discussion.
Okay.
Motion.
Discussion? So Kathleen,
Wait a minute, I need a second. Did you second?
yes,
Okay.
on CC and DD, the difference between, and you and I spoke about this, the difference between the two companies appear to be on paper, the trim around the windows, correct?
Framing,
The
yes.
framing. So they're charging roughly $3,000 to frame one 6x6 window
Right, on each side.
on each side. So it's the trim on one side and the other. Because we're going to be calling for a special meeting in July, is it possible to hold off on CC until we speak to the vendor? I know you reached out for him. I have as well, for them to go in a little bit more detail as to
Yes,
why the
so-
trim is $3,000?
Right. So what we'll do is under discussion, we'll withdraw item CC,
Okay,
okay? And then we'll bring it back this summer when we decide to have a board meeting.
okay. And in regards to DD, I'm assuming the safes that are labeled is what's customary for a school to use in situations like this?
Yes,
Okay. That's all.
thank you. Mr. Feedy?
Yes.
Ms. Street?
Yes.
Ms. Altai?
Yes.
Mr. Di Pasquale?
Yes. Thank you, Kathleen. Anything under old business?
I have something under old business. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Mrs. Kirk and Mr. Silvestri for putting on the Churchill play, Aliens Attack Fairfield. I had the opportunity to attend. The things that you're able to do with those children is amazing, nothing short of it. They spend hours and hours practicing, sometimes till 5, 6 o'clock. And really, you know, it's some of the kids' first introduction into drama and, you know, stage direction. And I really think that it's so important and they love it. I know my daughter was one of them, and she's a shy kid, and to see her come out of her shell by doing that was wonderful. And I know that's probably true for many kids. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you for all the time and effort.
Thank you very much. Anything under new business? Okay, committee reports.
Just an update on the negotiations committee. Teacher contract negotiations are still ongoing, and as mentioned at the previous meeting, we are at an impasse. Negotiations have stalled over time. The board is seeking additional time before school to be used for various professional purposes, lesson planning, grading, parent communication, and extra help opportunities for students. We will continue to keep an open dialogue on both ends in order to reach a fair and equitable agreement.
Anything else on their committees? Joe, Melinda? Okay. Public comments on non-agenda items only. Well, can we spin that around for Mrs. Mayor, please?
Is it on? Okay. Good evening. As president of the FEA, I have to say that I was appalled by Mr. Santana's email villainizing me to the community earlier this week. His misleading email about teachers volunteering is disheartening and divisive. As teachers, we've dealt with a lot this year: understaffed classrooms, colleagues leaving, and missed preps due to the lack of substitutes, just to name a few. One has to ask themselves how we teachers can be both the solution and the problem at the same time. Currently, the educators of Fairfield District are at an impasse phase of negotiation with the Fairfield Board of Ed, which means the Fairfield Board of Ed decided not to agree to a fair and equitable contract. Therefore, we are unable to work outside of our contractual hours, which is not unheard of when negotiations are in this phase. Until we receive a fair and equitable contract, we will not work beyond our contract hours while we await mediation. Every other profession gets overtime, except teachers. We are not in the position to volunteer our time given with our current conditions. We are all dedicated teachers and should not be demonized for wanting a fair and equitable contract for ourselves. As committed professionals of the Fairfield District, our top priority are our Fairfield students. Educating them is our calling, and for many of us, we look to Fairfield as our second home, denoting the meaningful relationships we have built with our classroom families. We take pride daily in educating and using our expertise to provide the students with a safe and secure learning environment that produces lifelong learners. We are appreciative of those who value us, our integrity, and our commitment to our calling. The FEA's only ask is a fair and equitable contract. Thank you.
Anything else under public comments, non-agenda items only? Non-agenda items only. This is the last opportunity to speak. Just please state your name and address.
Sure. Allison Miasso, 7 Southampton Drive. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my family, and hopefully many of the parents in the audience as well. I understand that our district is in a very challenging position. We understand there are financial constraints that force us to make very difficult decisions. We have an aging building, or buildings rather, that are causing a need for continued repairs. And sometimes when we come through the agenda, the items that get presented can give us a bit of pause, right? Just from an optics standpoint. Today, I think we all kind of acknowledged it, right? $5,000 for a safe feels almost excessive when we're really struggling with the loss of aides in the kindergarten classrooms or other kind of challenges that would really affect our children's education. That said, in a negotiation phase, we understand that there's a limit to what the board is able to do financially, but I speak on behalf of my family and also many community members where we very much support the teachers in their pursuit of a fair and equitable contract. And my concern is that we do not want to be in a position where the teachers feel that they're undervalued, where we feel that we are taking their time for granted. There is often many occurrences, both before and after school, as well as throughout the classroom day, where teachers are going above and beyond what is stated in their contract. Now, they do that, as you just heard Ms. Mayer say, because they have a calling. They really value and invest their time, both during the classroom day as well as in their personal time, to really growing our community. We have seen throughout the course of this year a continued exodus of teachers, an alarming rate of teachers leaving our district. And I'm concerned that if we continue to promote a culture where they feel that their time is not valued and where they feel that we do not appreciate their efforts, we're only going to see that worsen. And while in the short term, we're making very difficult financial decisions, the compounding effect of losing good, capable, qualified, seasoned veteran teachers and then having to invest lots of time and effort in recruiting, not always successfully bringing in the best candidates because sometimes we're coming to market at a point where there's not always a great availability of teachers that may be in the market at the time, and then having to find continued solutions, often looking to substitutes or other kind of compromises, is ultimately degrading the quality of the education the children will receive, but it's also going to further build upon and create an even more challenged budgetary environment for us as we have to then continue to recruit in new staff. Now, I know the board has expressed, and I believe wholeheartedly, which is why we've supported you in your pursuit of these positions, that you are trying to advocate also for the betterment of the district. I know you also support our teachers, and through negotiation, it's a challenging process, but I would just like to say today, on behalf of my family, that we fully support a fair and equitable contract, and we want to make sure that the teachers understand that from our perspective, we are happy to see the board do whatever it takes to ensure that their time is valued and they receive proper compensation and remuneration for the time that is being asked of them.
Thank you very much. You can jump in, then I will.
Just in response to that, I appreciate that. I'm not on negotiations team, but obviously we talk about what goes on. I can tell you, I guess there's only a certain amount of things I could actually say. It is not dollars. It's not. Just without being able to go any further, it's not percent dollars. As a matter of fact, one of the goals of this board is to make sure every teacher on every step is treated fairly for their experience and for what they do here. That is all I think I can say without stretching the
Yes,
limit.
and to Mrs. Mayer's point earlier, we appreciate our teachers, and we do want what's fair and equitable. And, unfortunately, the email that went out, the Board of Education was unaware of at the time. But what I could assure you the Board of Education did at that time was rally to make sure that the student safety was paramount and first and foremost. That's why the police department was there, in addition to myself, to make sure that because of the job actions, which took place, even though we are currently under a contract, didn't affect the safety of the students. So the Board of Education's first and foremost concern are the students and their safety, and that's paramount above anything else. And I think from the Board of Education and the general public receiving an email less than 12 hours than a school day, I think the safety and concern of the students based upon the job actions the Board of Education acted on. Because the general public should know that we received the correspondence about this from Mr. Santana shortly after the board president sent it. So I feel the Board of Education in 13 hours did exactly what it needed to do in short notice to make sure that the student safety was first and foremost. And I want to thank everyone that was involved in assisting with that. So I have nothing else on the contract. Anything? Thank you. Come up, Nicole. Say your name, even though we all know.
Hi, Nicole Sudol, 28 Allen Drive. Maybe someone could help me understand budgeting and finance, because I know we're in contract negotiations. It seems like we can't meet the number the teachers want. We got rid of kindergarten aides, but we've brought in a new hire on the 10th step. So if you could explain that to me, because I don't know how we have money for that. And obviously their steps are going to progress.
Yeah.
But we're short in other areas, and we're sort of not taking care of what we have already.
I can answer that quickly. So first and foremost, I'll touch on the aides. Nothing can be done with the aides until the teacher's contract is settled. That's first and foremost.
I'm asking how it's budgeted, though, like why there's money here but not there.
Well, in this particular applicant, it's based upon experience. So you're asking why a teacher is hired at...
Maybe I'm not clear.
Yeah.
How can we afford someone with that experience rather than someone who's out of step 2 when we can't afford what we have already? They need their steps, their degrees they have, I get that, but why can we afford step 10, but we can't afford what we have? That's what I don't understand. That's my question.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Kathleen, jump in here, if you don't mind.
Obviously, yeah.
So Kathleen, just to clarify, we saved money in this particular case, as opposed to what Ms. Sudol's insinuating that it cost us more money.
I'm not
Okay.
That's not fair. I'm not insinuating. I'm asking to understand.
It's not, but in the budgeting process, there's always,
There's a lot that you don't
there
see.
is some,
And that's why I asked.
Yeah.
So
There
please
is-
don't.
Yeah, no, I just want to clarify.
Go ahead, Joe.
no, I think, listen, there's always going to be some room and some, like different, like a breakage where, in this situation, we might have lost money. In this situation, we might have made money. It's not enough dollars and cents to, I guess, I don't want to step over dollars to pick up pennies in a budget situation, right? Like, there are bigger fish to fry than if we hired 2 people at step 10 and let 3 people go at step 7, however it works, right? It's not that much to hone in on, in my opinion. just from what I look at. And they're always a little bit of a cushion to anticipate teachers leaving. I mean, what we've had in the past year happens, nobody wants to hear this, but it happens in a lot of districts. In some ways, you can't blame them, but they're also giving up. Have you ever seen a situation where you have tenured teachers leaving? And it's, a lot of times I don't blame them for the money focus that is in their minds and whether the districts are going to and what they're paying. We can't fix that until we fix our guide. Our guide's broken, and that goes through negotiations.
Thank you, Joe, for answering my question
Anytime.
respectfully. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else on public agenda items? Non-agenda? Please come up. Just state your name.
Hi, Donna Gualtieri. I live in this town, 192 Big Peace Road, and I'm also obviously a teacher here. I'm sorry, I wasn't planning on coming up, but your comment on the issue with having to go to mediation for the contract, not having to do with money, maybe I'm wrong, okay? You were saying something about the percentage and all, but the time that's being asked to come ahead of time for all the things that you want us to do, that's being asked without any compensation.
We can touch on certain things.
I mean,
Well,
I
I'm
don't,
not- I'm
yeah, I
not
know
the-
we can't get into details, but I just wanted it said.
Here,
So there's certain things that the Board of Education feels needs to be corrected. And in some particular schools, we have teachers walking in with the students the same time as the students are. And these are things that we've brought up in the past.
That's our contract.
We,
no,
we
listen,
we understand that, and that's why we
No.
get that. We get
We-
that. But during the negotiations contract, I've been told several times by members of it, because of morale, it's not the right time to negotiate these things. Well, from a board standpoint, it's the only time, because it's a contract we're going to commit to for 3 to 5 years. So
It's
we
the-
can't base our decisions on the membership that is meeting with us saying, listen, morale's bad. It's not a good time to ask for these things. Because from a board standpoint, it's the only time. It's negotiation contract time.
But how
So-
can you say that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Go
of
ahead.
no,
course.
it's all right.
How can you say that it's the right time to ask for more time for no money?
So I think I'm a little,
Yeah,
here's, can I just?
I'm sorry.
I'm
Yes, of
just
course,
trying to
of course.
formulate a thought process here without breaking any laws or whatever I'm doing wrong up here. If I have a job from 9 to 5, I can't do it accurately in the right way if I show up at 9 o'clock. Now, you're following your contract. You're following your contract. A lot of these teachers, if school starts at 8:30, they're there at 8 o'clock already.
I'm one of them.
Right.
Okay.
So I still don't understand it, and I'm not a teacher. My wife's not a teacher. I don't know how to run a school, all that kind of stuff. I just don't understand if it's X number of time. That doesn't bring you, if you normally get there at 8 o'clock and now this brings you to 7:30 in the morning, totally get it. But you're already there.
But I don't have to be there at 8 o'clock. So
Okay,
that,
that's a technicality.
okay, teachers,
That's a
everything,
technicality.
everything,
No, I want to be they're the teachers though. They're the assets of the only assets we really have.
the,
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you for
that's-
your
well, that's what
comments.
I just-
that's
We
and
what they
appreciate
range.
it.
and I appreciate you listening. It was just that I wanted to make that known when you said it had nothing to do with money.
Yeah, and I could
That's all.
assure you,
Mark,
thank you
right,
for
I
your
mean-
time, but I could assure you that even as recent as executive, we are working to come up what's fair and equitable for all. So just because we're at an impasse now, doesn't mean that we're going to be in the future.
Of course.
Yeah.
It will get rectified.
Yes.
It has to.
I have faith in the teachers of this district and the teachers that have been educating our children, that we will present something that both parties feel is fair and
Okay.
in the best interest of the children, without going into
And that's
obviously
the
further
major
detail.
priority, of
Yes.
course. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Anyone else? Public comments, non-agenda items?
So maybe one quick comment. Sorry, Dr. Allison Miasso,
No,
7 South
you're
Hampton Drive. Maybe one quick comment and then one question. So I guess my comment is that I hear your point, Joe, about there's a contractual start time, and then there's your own personal decision and when you want to present yourself and make yourself ready for the day, which is everyone's individual discretion. But when it then becomes part of a contract negotiation and you're now requiring an allotment of time that then accumulates over the course of a week or month, a year, it does actually translate into hours. If they're not being compensated, that is a tangible impact to teachers. So that's my point of view. I'm also not an educator. I work in finance, and trust me, there's no such thing as 9 to 5 in the job that I do, but I also recognize how it is perceived on both parties. So I just want to share that as a comment. And then my question, which does relate, is when I heard earlier in the discussion, the type of activities that were being requested during that additional time, the one thing that was noticeably absent from that was potential duty assignments that might be for any need to support drop-off process at either schools. And I know that that is a looming topic. I'm not going to insult you by asking, do you have any updates? Because I'm well aware that there's a lot of complex things that are going into factoring in how the start of school is going to operate. But can you please clarify if there's an expectation that the teachers will also be supporting duties in the morning for extended drop-off processes due to the lack of busing?
Well, I guess what's fair and the only proper way to answer that is we won't know what that is going to look like until it happens. Now, I could tell you that I had the opportunity to meet with the chief of police a couple of weeks ago for short-term solutions and long-term solutions. We are looking at different things in both schools to make the drop-off and pickup situation a little bit quicker. It's obviously, we can't discuss exactly what we're looking into because it's going to take some time. But we do have the support of the police department in the short term to figure out, what's the safest way to get the kids in school, out of the cars and in the cars. So we are working on that, and we will continue to update you when we know what the plan is going to be for September. We've done the calculations. We know the enrollment in Tiny Treasures. We know how many students are going to be bused. We have an idea on how many students are going to be dropped off. We do hear from a lot of the parents that there's going to be a lot of carpooling. So we're expecting an increase in cars, but we really won't know until the day of exactly what that's going to look like. So all we can do is plan accordingly and go from there.
And I appreciate that a lot of effort is being expended to find the best solutions and perhaps multiple solutions because it might need to evolve with the reality of the situation. Do you anticipate when the community will be informed, particularly if there's any potential change in the start time of school? Is that something that's going to be like a late August announcement in advance of school? Do you have any kind of view of?
By August, yeah. We're going to give everyone, ample time to prepare. We extended the enrollment for Tiny Treasures because there was a lot of people that initially said they were interested, but unfortunately, the numbers are very similar to where they were this current year. So we don't see a big influx of people utilizing that before aftercare service. So that puts us in a position where we have to account for more cars, obviously. And that's one of the meetings that we recently had with the police department, because obviously safety is their number one concern as well.
And sorry, I know I don't mean to be going back and forth, but one additional clarifying question. Is part of those discussions, is there any contemplation of crossing guards or support, particularly where we have children that are crossing over the overpasses over the major
So I
highways?
have, again, met with Chief Mena, and they are evaluating the situations now this year on where the crosswalks are being utilized, and they will come up with a plan and put them where they are needed.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one thing to maybe clarify or add to it. The fact that we have teachers who are coming in or being asked to come in early to help with the bus duty is making, which allows the children to come in earlier, is making the teachers who are coming in early look like they're walking in with the students when they are not. They're actually there early, but the day doesn't start till 8:35. So the fact that we are allowing the students to come in earlier is misleading to the parents just to clarify that. I mean, you don't need to be there an hour before school to be ready for your day. You could be there 15, 20 minutes early, and that time is what teachers are doing. So if they are walking with the students at 8:20, then that allows them to come in and get ready for their day. I just want to make sure that that part is clarified. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else on public comments, non-agenda items? Just state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Stacy Scalia, 22 Stag Trail. I just kind of wanted to say from a parent's perspective that this year it feels to the children like there's been a lot of loss. There's been a bunch of teachers that have left. And that does impact the kids, right? They come home and they're saying, oh, this person isn't here anymore, or this person left. And they do hear things. Oh, they got a job somewhere else. There's somewhere else that pays more money. And so as a parent, I'm trying to explain this to them, and I'm, talking to them about how maybe, we'll see the teacher somewhere else, or maybe we'll keep in touch. I don't work in education, but I do run a business and I have a team. And I work really hard to foster the culture, right? You see my face all the time. I'm never asking my staff to do jobs that I never would do. And that culture, that feeling that you get when you walk into my business starts at the top. And, my concern is that there needs to be an accountability starting at the top that promotes that culture, right? They foster their culture between each other, but it starts with the leaders. And so we as leaders, me leading my household or the business that I work in, I put that time in to make sure that I'm doing things not only legally that I have to do, but also that they know that they're sort of in a safe space, and that they are then able to do their jobs efficiently, effectively, that they have the tools that we need. I mean, one of the things at the starting of this school year that I know that the teachers that had my children were asking for things like the nurse was asking for Band-Aid donations. That set the school year tone to me as a parent, like, okay, they're in triage mode. How do I as a parent help them? And then my kids are coming home and these people are leaving. Like, we really need to rally as leaders to make sure, we're not sending out an email that's, trying to put one fire out while creating another fire, that this person's then pinning on that person. Like, we need to come together and be strong, because if we're not that, no one's going to stay in this district. It's really embarrassing to say that I'm from Fairfield right now, because a lot of districts locally are like, everyone hears about this stuff. I just think as leaders, everyone needs to get on the same page and stand united and strong to work for the teachers who then work for the children, because that's why they're here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comments, non-agenda items? All right, we'll close that portion. Before we go on to our next meeting, I would just like to take a minute to thank Dr. Ciccatelli. Unfortunately, she's not feeling well. That's why she's not here tonight. But we like to say with great gratitude, a plaque that we will present to her in the board office to Dr. Susan Ciccatelli in honor and with deep appreciation for your outstanding leadership and exemplary commitment to the education of the children of the Fairfield School District, 2013 to 2024, presented by the Fairfield School District and the Fairfield Board of Education, June 13th, 2024. Next meeting, be it resolved that the next meeting will be held in person, August 22nd, 2024. Public Works section beginning at 6 p.m., followed by executive session, with public session resuming at approximately 7:30 p.m. at the Fairfield Municipal Building.
Motion?
Yes.
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 Yes.